Welcome to the WoW podcast, where we bring you inspiring stories and insights from our university community. Tune in for conversations about growth, success, and the power of communication in the academic world. So get ready to soar with us on the wings of wisdom.
I worked in the cafeteria to get free meals.
Love jigsaw puzzles.
You can call people, they won't answer. But text them, and 20 seconds later, you get an answer.
And we both love classical music and jazz and...
Come on.
Yeah. I marched for civil rights. I marched for women's rights.
If Ashland University ever failed, what would this town be?
Hello, and welcome to another engaging episode of Wings of Wisdom. I'm your host, Mohsin Bassett. Our podcast is brought to you by the Writing Communication Center. And today we have the absolute pleasure of hosting two of the most cherished and respected members of the community.
My goodness.
Jan and Bob Archer. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you for that. Thank you for the invitation.
What a pleasure. And with me, Beth Buttle. How's it going, Beth? Thank you for being here. So, maybe we can start from the beginning. And I know, like, today's episode is a little bit different. We would like not just celebrate your contributions in the community, but also get to know you as members of the community and say thank you from the bottom of our hearts for everything that you do for Ashland University as well as the Ashland community. So how did you two meet? Probably you get asked that question.
We do. We have answered. Shall I do it?
You're going to do it. She has the best story.
Okay.
There you go.
We were from different schools in the same county, and we both represented our schools for the 8th grade spelling bee.
Oh, wow, okay.
And he outspelled me. So, and he remembered me. And so it took a little while, though, although during our high school years, which we competed athletically and so on. And so I would see him on the basketball floor and on the football team, and he would see me in the little dance band that we had that we played at his youth center and at our youth center. So our paths crossed, but we really didn't get together until our sophomore year, actually beginning of the junior year at college. I was at Baldwin Wallace on the west side of Cleveland, and he was at CASE, Institute of Technology, on the east side. So he called and had a friend fix us up.
A fraternity brother, right? That's right.
Interesting.
Back then it was Case Institute of Technology. Today it's Case Western Reserve.
Oh, really? Okay.
When I went there, it was all men.
Oh, really? Okay.
So they had to find dates, Okay.
Oh, that makes sense. Okay. Wow, okay. Did you know about this, Beth?
I did not.
Oh, okay. And that was, back in...
Oh, my goodness.
1953, I started at Case. Right. We graduated 53, right.
Wow, okay.
I'll never forget the first day, they had the introduction to all the students. We got in Thomason Hall. T. Keith Glenna was the president of the college at that time. And he said, gentlemen, look to the person on your right, look to the person on your left, because he says, next year, one of you won't be here. And he was right. It was tough.
Interesting.
But I learned a lot. Great engineering school, great school.
And so, music major at the time.
Okay.
I was in the Conservatory of Music. And so, it was interesting matchup.
It is. So, technology and music, right? And then business and music. Wow, okay.
And were you married before you finished school, or did you wait until graduation?
Because he had a job and I did not. Now, you have to remember, in the 50s, mid-50s, the jobs for women were either to be a teacher or a nurse or a secretary. And I was none of those. And so being a church music major, organ and piano, there weren't just ready jobs to walk into. You had to find a church. You had to do, which I did during school. I played at a church in downtown Cleveland and so on, but did not have anything. So we were poor as church mice, and he had a job. And so we got married on spring break of our senior year, and then went right to our home
It's amazing.
and his job. So
And that's back in 1957?
757, yes.
57. Wow, okay. I did my research.
Oh my goodness.
Or some very quick math.
I couldn't have done that.
We had a 1957 Plymouth, and we drove to North Canton, and we had $17.51 in our pocket.
Oh,
that
man.
was it. That's all the money we had. But that was a lot of money, man.
Right.
Yeah. Interesting.
And I soon began to get some piano students in our apartment, second floor apartment, walk up, and played at the church, and did that, started it until the children came along 3 years later. So
I'm assuming you have grandchildren as well?
we do 7,
Oh, wow.
and 2.5 great-grandchildren.
Oh, really?
Is the half still cooking?
Yes, yes.
So
Wow.
Very fortunate.
So the next big question is, do you have special plans for Valentine's Day next week?
No.
I hadn't thought about it. We kind of go a day at a time now.
That's never been a really big holiday for us.
No, not your favorite.
And in school, you always had Valentine's Day and all that stuff, but we just sort of,
I usually get a card, and he usually gets a card.
we used to get candy, but not anymore.
No, we don't.
So, Bob, you mentioned you began your higher education journey with a focus on business management.
Right.
How did your experiences at, CITE, right? Case Institute of Technology,
Case, right.
and at Kent State.
Well, I went to Case because I wanted to get an engineering degree, because the engineering discipline and logic, you really learn how to think. I love calculus and chemistry and all that good stuff. And I went to work for the Hoover Company as a quality control engineer. And they were good enough to help finance me going after my MBA at Kent State University. And that's how I got there then. And then after I got my MBA, I taught for Kent State for 5 years in Canton. They had, satellite place. And I taught probability statistics as well as industrial management. And one of the benefits of teaching those courses, I had some pretty good students. And I hired 3 of them at the Hoover Company, and they went on to become vice presidents. So it was a good recruiting place. We'd have the class like 7 to 9. We'd go to the bar next door. Sometimes we'd stop, buy a beer, and just talk to these guys. And I got to know, hey, these guys are smart. So we hired them. Not all in the same year, but over a period of 3 years, I hired 3 of them, right?
So as a student, were there any influences from faculty members or mentors that kind of guided you to choose a career in business?
Yeah, I think so. In Case, I had great professors back then. Professors were really, they're always dedicated, but at that point in time, they were really into teaching, really into teaching. Right, so I learned a lot.
Very good. What about you, Jen, with the music?
Well, my organ professor, he was kind of a character, but he was very good, and he taught me a lot. Wasn't very practical. At that time, if you were a keyboard major, you did not get a music education degree, which we found out after the fact really limited your options after graduating. And they've since changed that. In fact, fairly soon after I graduated. So they must have heard from a few people that maybe we need to look at this and have more options to go into schools and to do things because with piano you can do some things like that too.
Do you still play?
Not as much. For several years I played in the nursing homes here just for fun, played the oldies. I was the same age as most of them, so we knew some of the same music, some of the same songs, but no, the pandemic kind of did that in, and nobody could go in, and so I kind of got away from it, and so, but every now and then I sit down.
Do you have any hidden musical talents?
Well, my mother had me playing the trumpet when I was in like 6th and 7th, 8th grade, but then I decided I wanted to play football, so that sort of killed that.
But he's a good singer. He's a good singer.
Oh, okay, wow, okay.
so you could give us a duet if we really needed.
No, I'm not a singer. I could play for him to sing, yes, which we've done. We've had a lot of fun over the years with sing-alongs with friends and in different places in town that we would gather. And so, yeah, we used our music a little bit. And, of course, it led to our loving the orchestra here. Ashland Symphony Orchestra is one of our favorite organizations that we support.
And beautiful.
Both in our presence and in our presence. So,
Yeah.
She was valedictorian of our high school class, and so was I. She was valedictorian of our college class, and I wasn't. But here's the key. March 1st of 1953, I got a letter from Union Carbide. I had applied for scholarships at Kenyon, Case, and Miami, a couple other places. I get this letter that says, "Dear Mr. Archer, you have been selected for a scholarship for Case." I got all my tuition, room, not room and board, but all the instruments, because I had all that stuff. If I wouldn't have got that, I wouldn't be here today. That scholarship saved me. I mean, I don't know what I'd have done.
and our church, I got scholarships from the Methodist Church. And Baldwin Wallace at that time was a Methodist church and a Methodist school. So, we both needed it. I was one of 5 kids. My parents were both teachers. And so we didn't exactly have a lot of money for college, but it's obviously very important. And so we were able to get some help. So
And I worked in the cafeteria to get free meals.
Oh, really? Okay.
so did I. I worked in the cafeteria too at school.
When I was at Denison, I had maybe like 4 or 5 jobs.
Did you?
Yeah. I always maxed out in terms of the number of hours worked every week. So
Okay.
I made sure I got to that max. So.
All right. Good. Where there's a will, there's a way.
Yeah.
So
Well, you've both had incredibly impactful careers. Could you share how your career paths have influenced your personal values and your community involvement?
oh my, you
You're
want to take a
first.
crack at that? Well, let's see. I've had sort of a checkered career, I would say, because having the background with a religious background, I was music major, church minor, religion minor. I kind of gravitated into different things of value, I would say. So that was that background. But I found after I had the children, and by the way, we moved 4 times in 7 years before we landed here.
Oh, really?
And so I was ready to go back to school. And so I got my graduate degree. I got a master's degree in urban studies. I'm living in Ashland. I got it in urban studies. But the focus was on health and social services as a minor, or as I should say, a focus. And so I was able to become a health planner with the area-wide health planning agency first. And then after that, went into demise. They did away with that. I was hired by the hospital as a hospital planner, and did several things here at Samaritan.
Oh, really?
And loved it. Have dear lifelong friends that I made there. But while I was there, I was asked by Ken Milligan, you may know Ken in the community, who was the chair of the United Way campaign that year, to be the vice chair. And I said yes. And shortly after that, the director of the United Way left for another position. So they asked me if I was interested, and I was, and I got hired then as United Way director. So you see, I'm going different directions. But I loved that because it reflected my values too. Community, the charitable aspect of it, and the agencies that were helping people and so on. So it all kind of made sense, and I loved it. Did it for 10 years, and then wore myself out. And so and then was out for a year or so, and the Leadership Ashland program, which I had helped as one of the community members to start it here, needed a director, and so I was hired for that. It was part-time, so it was just something that fit in, and did that for several years, 4 or 5, I've forgotten. I think it was 5. And then I said, it's time to quit. And so I did that. But I loved every job that I had. And as I said, very much a community-based one, reflecting what, I guess, did I answer your question?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. A lot of things that we didn't know about.
Okay.
Your career and
Right.
leadership in the community. That's fascinating.
Well, and of course, being the United Way leader, you got into many community things by virtue of your position. And so I loved just having, what I really liked about United Way is you're in touch with the whole community. And I just made so many friendships and lasting relationships that very valuable. So, no, your turn.
Well, leadership, I always, for the time I was probably 14, 15 years old, I just felt I had leadership skills. And to me, leadership is, number one, you got to be a good teacher. Number two, you got to be a good coach because we're different. And last, you got to be a good cheerleader. And I think in my business career, that's the way I operated. And I was able to hire a lot of good people, and we worked together on those kind of things. And our company made a lot of money. And so we came to Ashland, and we feel that it's time to give some of it back.
Well, tell them more about your career, though. You worked with the Hoover Company and then had other positions, too. So,
Well, Hoover Company was it. I worked for White Motors in Cleveland for a while, right? And then came to Ashland with Eagle Rubber, and a group of us in 1980, Brown Group wanted to divest, so a group of 6 of us bought Kent Water Sports.
Yep.
And we built it from $350,000 a year company to today it's like over $300 million. So it's been a good experience, and I hired a lot of good people that made it happen.
So
We make and sell more life jackets than anybody else in the world. We're number one. If you're out in the water and you've got a life jacket on, you look inside and it'll say, Kent Water Sports, New London, Ohio.
Right.
That's amazing.
Isn't it? Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
I was gonna ask if business what really brought you to the Ashland community,
Yeah, that's right.
or if it was family, or we have few numerous faculty and staff who go around the world and then they end up coming back to
Right.
To be closer to family members.
Right. Nope. It was just his work that brought.
When I worked for the Hoover Company, Hoover had plants all over the world, and I spent time in England, France, a little bit in Spain. Spent a lot of time in South America, 2 or 3 different times, and a lot of traveling. I learned a lot.
Of course, yeah.
I might mention, going back again to the influences and the values, we both were in Methodist Youth Fellowship, MYF, and actually we did go to some things at each other's churches, I think, in high school. I'm not sure of that. But anyway, then in college, I actually became the president of the statewide Methodist group. And one of the trips that I took was to North Carolina for a seminar and leadership, and it was during segregation. And downtown, I forget what city it was now, I saw the water fountains, colored only and whites only. I just deliberately drank from the colored fountain just as a mini protest, And it's always shocking to think that our country, and I'm not sure we've resolved that problem yet. But anyway, so civil rights also had become a strong part of my background. I marched for civil rights. I marched for women's rights. I sat in at the State House for the Equal Rights Amendment. So anyway, that's a little bit background now that maybe nobody here at Ashland knew about.
Right.
Yeah.
No, that's
Like all my secrets. I'm telling all here.
that's amazing and really.
And Bob accepted all this. He didn't mind. I mean, I went to New York to see Gloria Steinem and meet her, and went to Chicago, Bella Abzug, all those names from the women's movement, But in St. Louis is where we were involved in the civil rights movement, and we picketed Busch Stadium one day can't remember for what, but we had our signs, and again for integration.
She was involved in Action Against Apathy.
That was my favorite group in St. Louis. Action Against Apathy wanted to have to counter white racism. And before I was there, our group got the first black person hired on camera in the TV stations. And then my group, two of us went to the county schools, and I remember we had an interview that we wanted to get blacks hired in teaching positions, not just as bus drivers and cooks and janitors and so on. And it was interesting. The person I went with shocked me because at one point she pounded her fist on the desk and made some kind of demands that this change and all that. That's not my personality. I was a little taken aback by that. But went back to our group, Action Against Apathy, and a minister who was part of the group said, Jan, there are three types of people in every organization. There are those who are out front, getting your attention, loud, waving things, so on. There's the next wave of people who sit and communicate and try to verbally make inroads. And then the rest are all followers. But that's a lesson I never forgot. Thought that was pretty valuable. So.
Wow. Did he call it AAA at all?
We didn't actually. Now that you say Action Against Apathy, but of course our letterhead had the 3 A's and made lasting friends, really long-lasting friends. The last one just died last year, but anyway, so.
Sorry for your loss.
Thank you. You don't?
So we are probably, for the listeners and viewers to know, we are in the XR room. This is a brand new room here at the Archer Library, right? So what prompted you to support the project of, having or renovating the library?
Well, I think if you look at the big picture of Ashland University, like all small colleges, it has some financial problems, okay? And the community of Ashland, if you go back 10 years ago, Ashland community and Ashland University were not always on the same page. Today, I think with Dr. Campo and Matt Miller, there's a lot more cooperation and so forth. And stop and think, if Ashland University ever failed, what would this town be? It would be a disaster. So we've got, all of us in this community have to do everything we can to make sure that both the city and the university succeed and thrive. It's got to be. It's just got to work. That's why we're dedicated, because we want to help make it happen.
So when there was a need, like for the library, we came through.
And we're very grateful for that, and especially for an academic institution, having a library where
wonderful.
Yeah, it makes a huge difference. So you are making a difference every single day, every moment someone uses one of the multiple resources that we offer here, be it the cafe, be it the information desk, be it the WCC or reference desk, and the tutoring services, the career service, so on and so forth. So those are impactful moments.
And it's so nice. It's kind of the hub here. It's kind of the center of the campus. And as I said, education very important to both of us. And so
we've given money for sports, but we've given more money for scholarships, because again, I got a scholarship. Without that scholarship, I wouldn't be here today. And I think it's very important because education is expensive today. So a lot of young kids need help, and that's why number one is scholarships. Number one.
Wonderful.
For Ashbrook as well as Ashland University.
Absolutely, yeah. It's a whole, it's multiple departments, but it's one unit. And they appreciate the fact that you're bringing the community to Ashland, or Ashland University to the community, and seeing that we can thrive together as one, instead of each unit is advocating for their own interests only.
Right.
But having that vision, holistic vision, to see the benefit in each unit's success means the success of everyone else, I think that makes a huge difference.
Let me add everything about Ashland. we've got a project here we call IDMS, Integrated Data Management System. We're trying to improve the systems and information, be able to get more information for all the people. So we have 5 interns, not one of them from the United States. And once a month, we take these interns out and have pizza and talk about what we're doing and why and so forth. So last time, or a couple times, I said, why did you pick Ashland University?
Right.
And they came up with a number of reasons, but their parents helped research, they researched. But the bottom line was that they all said, because Ashland is safe. And I think that says a lot about Ashland. You know, we've got a few drug problems, but we had a couple swimmers that have a problem, as you know, and at Walmart. But hey, by and large, this is a pretty safe, pretty cool community.
Absolutely, yeah. And something that came up just yesterday, I think we were talking. I was talking with some faculty members and some administrators here on campus, and one of our colleagues had, a situation where she thought she made a mistake, but she managed to talk with the students and make the student feel comfortable and feel better, and contact the academic program. And she was nervous about doing that, admitting to that mistake. But it turned out that the whole thing was just fine. And reflecting on the whole example, you can see how the student felt. She was nervous, but then, knowing that there's a whole community there to support that student, I think that makes a huge difference. And those are the moments that students can remember. Maybe spend 2 years here, 4 years, maybe they will do their masters, what have you. But when they go back, it's those single moments where people came through, thanks to their humanity, to provide that support. Yeah.
You've both discussed some of the significant roles you've played for this community, but are there other things that make Ashland special to you, that have helped encourage you to really be invested in the development here?
Definitely the symphony. I mean, for a community our size, we have what some people say is the best small town orchestra in the country. And we're very, very proud of that. And years and years ago, when it came, I was involved in the board for about 15 years. And so and we both love classical music and jazz. And also we have been both very, very interested in seeing that it is maintained and has quality music. And we feel very fortunate that the community supports it as well. So that's a special other area of interest.
I'm a big sports fan, and if you stop to think, we have 784 scholar athletes at Ashland University. 784. And we have some great teams. Our women's basketball team, national champions. Our soccer team, women's soccer did great.
Basketball.
The women's basketball, 37-0. The men they're good, but not quite as good as the women. But
they had one.
They're getting there.
They had one this year.
What?
The women had one loss this year.
But last year they were 37-0.
You were saying 37.
37-0. Won the national championship. Right.
Right.
But we have a lot of good athletes. I mean, good coaches. We have a lot of great professors. We have a very integrated system here. I mean, a lot of good things going on. Right. Yes.
Yeah. Again, going back to that synergy.
Right.
Everyone's supporting the other, and even with athletic coaches, and this is just saying thank you to them for the work that they do. They are mentors to those athletes on the field, but also mentoring them to become better students.
I like the word synergy you just used. I mean, a lot of people say, well, synergy is like, 3 + 2 is 5. Well, in Ashland, 3 + 4 is 8.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, another hybrid or community college group that you're very familiar with, Ben, very much got involved with that from its beginning. And, of course, that's our Nonviolence Center. And I don't know if you want me to say how that all came about or not.
That was going to be our next question.
That's the next question. Yes,
Okay.
it asks, could you share any specific initiatives or projects that you're passionate about that deal with issues of social justice and equity? And we know you're willing to ask the hard-hitting questions because we all have heard you do it at our speaking engagement.
Okay. Well, again, it goes back to the war in Iraq or before. The Twin Towers, the crash, the planes, and the stunning part of that, September 11, 2001. And it was kind of quiet for several months, obviously, after that, as the nation was trying to decide how to deal with it. And then we heard that we were going to go to war in Iraq as retribution. And so some of us got out our peace signs and our no war signs and make love not war signs and stood on the corner of Claremont and College and protested. We demonstrated once a week for several months. And then when we did go to war in Iraq, we said, okay, what else can we do? Which has become sort of the tagline for us. And so we sat down and decided ultimately to create the Center for Nonviolence. Didn't have quite that name yet, but that was the gist of it, is to have nonviolent approaches to things. And so I was very proud. I got to help write the mission statement, and a steering committee was formed, and several of us were on that for several years. And it has grown now, and Beth is an integral part of it, as well as Craig Hovey now. But the Strattons, Dr. John Stratton, was actually the first leader of our group, and Dorothy, of course, right by his side. And so she continues to be a strong supporter and so on. So, yes, we have brought outstanding speakers to the camp. The first one was the grandson of Gandhi, Arun Gandhi. The second was the daughter of Martin Luther King. Help me with her first name. I've just
That was
blanked.
Coretta, right? Was it
No,
Coretta?
it was Yolanda.
Yolanda.
Coretta was the wife. Yolanda was the daughter. And so she came. And then we had Jim Wallace, the head of the Sojourners group, the next group, and so on. And we've had people from the Amish group when there was a killing of one of theirs, and they brought in the forgiveness element. We had another one of the civil rights marchers, and again, his name escapes me, I'm sorry. But anyway, outstanding people who have come, and it has grown, and had peace scholars developed as a result of the initiative, and they're doing their bit on campus, and Beth can really speak more to that than I can as to their role. So anyway, I'm just very, very happy that it has continued, and that we're able to support it.
Not only has it continued, but it has grown. And I think this year we have the record number of peace scholars.
8 scholars this year, and we have capacity to take 10. So there's still room for more growth, which is nice.
Good.
That's amazing. Yeah.
And you might want to share what all they do.
Yeah, so I mean, our scholars are required to have a minor in ethics or conflict resolution, but they agree to commit to attending our events and working with us. We're lucky enough to have some of them who are interns with our program. But yeah, it's just a neat scholarship opportunity for students who are interested in peace and social justice and conflict mediation and all those things. And I think that there's, even room for growth within the campus in terms of some course development related to peace and justice studies. Mohsin will actually be presenting on that at our annual conference, which is in a couple of weeks. So
Yes,
there's
and
always
you're on
lots
the
of good
steering
ideas
committee now
flowing.
too. So good. Yes.
Actually, we had an episode prior to this one where we hosted Dr. Craig Ivey and Beth, and we talked about.
I saw that podcast. Yes.
Yeah.
So maybe I'm repeating things.
No, that's good. It's all good. You mentioned Dr. John Stratton.
Yes.
I was gonna mention that he, with the help of Dr. Lucille Ford, launched the Writing Center back in 1987.
Yes.
So
Yes.
it's again like that synergy.
Synergy. Everyone's
right,
connected.
Right. All working together.
Yeah, the connection of different people contributing to the same community. I think that's how difference is made.
And again, the nonviolence group draws from all over the Northeast Ohio, and not only to attend events, but to be involved
Absolutely.
with the group. So I think that's great.
I think one time, we had a speaker from Australia at a certain point in one of the conferences. Was it Australia? Was it New Zealand?
I don't remember
So the conference is not just national; it's also international.
Right.
Yeah.
I'll have to check on that. But,
We thought it was impressive that we had people from Oklahoma last year.
right.
So in my role as the director of the Writing Communications Center, one thing that I guess we strive to grow is building or helping students become effective communicators. Now, in your careers, how important was communication or having communicational skills that would allow you to communicate clearly and effectively with others?
I think communication is just, in the business world, you have to be a good communicator. You have to be able to motivate and talk and speak and give speeches and sometimes get a little excited about things. But communication is just, and I think, AI is a problem today. I mean, kids aren't learning to communicate. They just plug in and it does it for them. I'm worried about that.
Yeah.
You've got to communicate. Yeah. We got to talk to each other. Yeah. I also learned a long time ago. I learn a lot more by listening than I do by speaking.
And he lives with me, so he. No, but also I was in high school. Even was part of the newspaper, writing one of the editors. So yes, writing has always been. And again, the fact that we're both good spellers, I think we value the ability to communicate in writing as well as orally.
Yeah.
But yes, written a few things in my day.
Interesting. Nice. Were there any instances where maybe you attested to poor communication skills that maybe had or led to consequences? Not on your part, but maybe you were observing someone else.
Well, we built a new office building warehouse in Snoqualmie, which is outside of Seattle, about 2012, maybe about 10, 11 years ago. One of the problems I had out there, they had a first floor with one group of company and then a second floor. And these people would send emails to each other. And I finally said, hey, this is ridiculous. Get out of your office, either go down the hallway and talk to each other. And I still had problems. So I said, okay, if you don't start doing what I'm asking, I'm going to take your computers away for one whole week.
Ground them, huh?
Yeah. So I did. I shut them down for 2 days, and everybody said, "Oh," they said, "Whoa, we need that. Then you better start talking." And it worked, but that was ridiculous.
Yeah.
I mean, people got to talk to each other. I mean, face to face. That's why I don't like this thing of staying home, remote. I don't like remote.
Oh yeah.
Corroboration and social. It's important to talk to people face to face. Body language is very important. Let's face it.
Yeah.
You could, if you're not getting through, you can tell real quick.
Yeah. And the pandemic was a horrible time.
That's right. It was.
So many things. Yes. So I get a little concerned when I see the young people with their heads down, looking at their phones most of the time, walking around and so on. Yes, they're communicating, but
what's the cost?
Yes, and I think about the tone in a speaking voice or the eye-to-eye contact. That's missing in the communication, and not to mention anonymity, which has led to so many problems too. So we have some things to solve.
Absolutely, yeah.
But another problem we have, I'll go to sports events, and if our own grandkids, you can call people, they won't answer. But text them, and 20 seconds later, you get an answer. Come on.
You've cracked the code.
Yeah. Oh, it's a different world for us. I grew up in the country where we had the telephone lines with like 6 or 7 families all on one line.
Yeah, we had party lines too.
Party lines.
You pick up the phone, whoa, wait a minute, you better quit talking.
Growing up, we didn't have a phone, so we had to go to our neighbor's house to wait for a call.
Oh.
Because we knew someone would call at a certain time. So.
Oh, yes.
Well, my grandparents lived in the country on a farm. They never had a phone for a long, long time. Never had a phone. They have to talk to somebody. They'd walk or take the car and go down the street and talk to somebody. That was the way they did it. And,
And they were great communicators, weren't they?
that's right, they were.
Very good.
All right.
Next question.
Of all the projects and contributions that you've been involved with, do you have a favorite that you've worked on together, and what made it so special?
Oh, my goodness. What would you say? One of our favorite things, actually, was the high school auditorium.
Oh,
That was one of the first things that we agreed on. Surprised the superintendent with that one, and that will always be special.
The thing about that, though, if Doug Merrill would have been a football coach instead of a music major, that theater would not have turned out the way it did, because he was insistent that the decibels and all that stuff had to be perfect, and he really worked hard to make it happen.
Again, this school superintendent,
Yeah.
Doug.
If you walk in there on a day when there's nobody there, and I stand on the stage, and you're clear in the back, it's just like we're talking. You can hear. I mean, it is perfect. You can hear just like we're sitting here today.
Plus, they wanted to make sure that for music it worked, for the voice it would work, and so on. Yeah, so.
Got to tell you a quick story, though, about that. Nancy Davis, who was a Tipton, and she and Doug Mayer, they were close. So Nancy said, well, come over and talk to you some night about school and auditorium. So we said, fine. So they come over, started talking a little bit of talk and so forth. And Nancy said, well, Doug's a big water skier. I said, oh, really? What's he ski on? And Doug says, well, I ski on a good ski, G-O-O-D-E. That's a brand name of a really high-end ski. I said, really? Is that right? Well, I guess this conversation's over, because if he's not riding Conley, I don't want to talk anymore. And he got all embarrassed in that face. Then I said, oh, God, I'm just kidding. But I had him.
And Nancy told us later, when they went out the door, of course, we didn't make any commitment then. He said, boy, I blew that, didn't I?
But if you go over to the field house at Ashland High School, you know where the concession stand is at the far end? You'll see on the side of the wall, Conley.
Which was it. Before he left, he made sure. That was one of the last things that he was involved in.
That's very nice.
Oh, Doug.
What about hobbies or other interests, things for fun? You mentioned music. Are there anything that you have enjoyed over the years?
We both love to walk. Is that a hobby? I don't know whether it's a hobby.
No, it is. I mean, it's...
Oh, I love jigsaw puzzles. And crossword puzzles, and just about any other kind of puzzle. But how did you know that?
I think we've shared puzzles, and I am fairly certain that my parents have set aside puzzles to pass to you.
Oh, yeah.
I enjoy a good jigsaw puzzle.
I'm kind of out of a new one right now.
I'll send you. I have a diverse spines that's all about banned books.
Wow. All right.
That'll be a good one for you.
That'd be good, but Bob?
It takes a lot of patience, I think. I don't know if I have that.
No, I love it.
Yeah,
So,
that's amazing.
yeah. So,
What about walking? How often do you go for walks?
well, he walks daily. I used to. Kind of got off it this last year, and been getting back into it now. So you do that, but the neighborhood.
In good weather, I'll get close to 3 miles every day. Bad weather, and then the treadmill, I hate it. I mean, I just, below 20 degrees, I will not walk outside. But when I get on that treadmill, I can watch sports, it's boring.
Yeah.
But we both do love sports. We both do love music. So we have a lot of interests that we can share. And
Good. Very
yeah,
good.
so.
Would you agree that's one of the secrets to your marital success? Having similar interests?
I think so. And similar values. I've always thought we have similar values. I think that's very important too. But yeah, we enjoy a lot of the same thing. And then we also enjoy different things. You know, he doesn't care diddly about jigsaw puzzles.
I used to work puzzles, but I just lost interest in it. Right,
We both read. He reads a lot. So
What do you read, if you don't mind me asking?
fiction,
Fiction.
more fiction than nonfiction for me.
The best book I read lately was The Tattooist. It's a depressing book, but I couldn't put it down.
It's about Auschwitz, prisoner in Auschwitz who could speak several languages, and so they made him be the one to talk with from the different countries.
Well, he knew how to do the tattoos, but the numbers, everybody had to have a number, and it had to be tattooed in your hand.
It was. I had to read it in stages. It was too impact.
Yeah, too heavy. Yeah.
Too heavy. Yes.
Well, I read business books, but I like legal mysteries too.
Nice. That's good. Some
Right.
some business and also some for pleasure.
For pleasure. Yes.
Like books like Good to Great by Jim Collins and things like that, and Lencioni, and I read a lot of those kind of things. Right. Yeah.
Very good. Very good.
And I read Hillsdale and Primus all the time. Really.
It's kind of an Ashbrook sister-brother relationship there, but yeah.
Very good.
We have a wonderful church library where you can check things out and take them back. So take advantage of that too. So.
Yeah.
All right. So drawing from your own experiences and successes, do you have any advice that you would offer to Ashland University students as they prepare for their future careers and their life beyond AU?
Well, we talked about that question on the way over, and I think I have contact with a lot of students, particularly now they got an office in Dowd, and I talk to the kids, and I'd say most of them understand why they're here, and they're studying hard, and they know they're spending a lot of money to do what they've got to do, and even the sports kids. I mean, for example, football used to be the grade point average of football players was like 2.67 here for a long time. This last year was 3.2. Yeah. The girls' basketball team, 3.84. Soccer team, Caleb just put out a little, there's 3.6 or 7, something like that. So that's very important. But I think that sports guys are getting, sports women are getting better, and I think all the colleges, everybody's working hard to study and get the job done. Because I think they realize it's expensive and it better work while they're here to get it done. Your turn.
Well, I would go beyond just working and studying hard, of course. That's the main purpose. But enjoy these years. Participate in things that the campus has to offer and get to know people from other countries. And, I mean, it's a wonderful way to, even especially if this is your hometown, try to live on campus if you can, or be on campus and just go to the things, because there's so much, and it's a time in your life that you'll never get back.
Yeah.
And so
enjoy the experience.
Exactly, and especially in a liberal arts college, that there's so much you can take advantage out of. So just enjoy. Still study hard, but find time to have fun.
I heard something this morning that really impressed me. Annie Roshak, you know who she is.
Yeah.
Great basketball player. Haley Smith, North Canton, good basketball player. And Molly Dever, who transferred here from Bowling Green. Those three, or two of them are seniors, or after, and then of course Haley as a junior. They've decided to live together the rest of their time and on in the future at seminary housing, because there's a lot of empty space, right? And they're getting a good deal. So we're getting a little bit of money, and they're getting a good deal, and they're going to live there for the next couple of years. What they told me. Oh, very good. That's a win-win.
Yeah. And you know what's impressive? The fact that you know their names and where they came from, and their majors and all of that.
You know what? Really I learned impressive. A long time I worked in the Hoover Company. A person's name is the sweetest sound in our language. And all our plants, when I was spending a lot of time there, I could go down to our plant called Black Sheep in Tyler, Texas. I knew everybody's name. Wow. Just one of the things that over the years, I was a rush chairman in my fraternity way back, and it was important that I knew everybody's name when we brought in. It's important to know people's names. They feel good when you remember their name, really.
Well, you're a good embodiment. Both of you are good embodiments of our, a core foundational principle of accent on the individual. That is definitely, right. Accent on the individual. Right.
Right.
Yeah. And we teach you how to think, not what to think.
Yeah, there you go.
The Ashbrook folks can attest to that, right?
Right. So.
Well, thank you so much. We don't want to be too selfish with your time.
Oh, my. I'm retired.
So grateful for
Our time
for
today is your time.
Your time.
your wisdom, and everything that you do for each one of us, not just the students and the
Well,
whole
thank
community.
you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for the invitation.
Purple.
This,
Yeah.
purple and gold, right?
So thank you for having us.
Yeah, this has been fascinating. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Again, we're very, very grateful. So.
Oh, thank you.
Hello.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in to the WoW podcast, where curiosity meets inspiration. Brought to you by the Writing and Communication Center at Ashland University.